All right, hi, I'm Tony, and I am an addict. I definitely used drugs of all kinds. I found myself in the morning of well, a couple of years ago. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I had finally found some drugs and filled the pipe, and my daughter had called me at this time, asking if I would join her May christening in a couple days. And with a pipe filled with methamphetamines in one hand and my daughter on the phone in the other hand, tears rolling down my face, it was easier for me to tell my daughter no and hang up than it was for me to put that pipe down. I've been clean now for just under 20 months, and the one and only way that I've ever been able to stay clean is from God and unconditional love from other people who believe in God and helping one another. I was the type of father who lived with my children. I got them up in the morning, I got them dressed, I fed them breakfast, and I drove them to school every day. I was in every corner of my children's lives. I was always a family man until I started using drugs. But I never used anything outside of tobacco or alcohol until I started driving over the road. It was 2018, the year that I started using, and it was only because a person that I thought was my friend gave me this substance because I needed to get all the way across the country in a short amount of time, and I didn't know how I was going to do it and was scared and frantic and needed paid for that load. So he gave me this stuff and says it'll take the edge off. And it was all off to the races at that point. I never stopped using. That was in February of 18. I never did stop using until here just shy of 20 months ago. Starting to lose track of like who I was. Because instead of being that kind father figure in a small town community, I started to get angry. I started to get very indecisive. My actions were very sporadic, and the decisions that I did make were never good. I was hiding things, and what money I was spending was only to purchase more drugs. I was put in jail for something I didn't think that I had done. I refused to let myself see what was really going on. I didn't know that there were 12-step programs. I didn't know that there were people who had gone through the things that I had done. I didn't know that there was a way to get through this. In fact, after I got out of jail and I'm still using, I didn't even make it out of the parking lot before I hit that pipe again after I got out of jail. And a couple months later, that morning that my daughter called me and I had tears rolling down my face, and I tell my daughter no. Instead of putting the drugs down, I hit that pipe and everything was over that morning. Moments after I got done using and I had finished crying, I tied a rope over my neck, the other end over a rafter, and I jumped. I was that low, I was that far gone. There was a person I didn't know very well, but who obviously knew me. Came running in the door the moment after I stepped off that chair. It's a person in recovery, a fellowship that I belong to today. It's a person who I lean on very strongly today. Because if it wasn't for God telling him that he needed to come see me that morning, I wouldn't be here. That marks my clean date, guys. It's the last time I ever used a substance, any mind-altering substance. It wasn't easy. It was hard. It was aggravating. It was stressful, dramatic. Oh my gosh, the drama in recovery and treatment. difficult. If you're in treatment, if you find yourself in IOP, if you find yourself in a 30-day or long-term treatment facility, I was there and I stuck through. I found out who I was in those places. I was able to start talking to my God again, to the person that literally saved my life. Because if it wasn't for God in my life, or my God in my life, or however you'd like to look at it, I wouldn't be here today. That person ran in, he was screaming. It's like, I don't know if this is your garage. I don't know where you're at. He runs around the corner of my pickup, and there I am. Like, no one told this man where I live. No one told this man that this is what I would be doing in the morning. No one told this man that I'd be in the garage instead of the house. There are two different buildings, not attached. There's no other explanation other than God in my life. So I praise God daily. I pray to Him daily. I thank Him daily. Fast forward a couple years later, through all of that hard work in life called recovery, I now have people that I can count on. I have people who look up to me. I sponsor people as well as have a sponsor. I work through the 12 steps, and I attend functions nationwide. I have a job today that not only pays the bills, it makes life a whole lot easier than what it ever was. I got to see my children 3 weeks ago today for the first time since 4 years ago today. And they don't hate me like I thought they would. They missed their dad. And the joy and happiness and unconditional love that I get to feel with the relationships in my life today because God was standing there in my side just a couple of years ago. Because God is working in my life, because recovery is working in my life, because the struggles, the despair, the dereliction doesn't have to be our way of life anymore.